talk about a whiskey today. I'm going to be talking about a whiskey that doesn't get a lot of coverage. I know that Aquavit has talked about this as part of one of his like The Forgottens live streams. And I kind of see why. This is one of those ones that really gets overlooked, and it's a relatively new, well, it is a pretty new distillery, and it's a relatively new outrun. Now, normally when you have a new distillery putting out their first whiskies, there's a big uproar and everyone wants to get their hands on it, and it's a big deal and it's amazing. But it wasn't the case with these guys. And I'm not 100% certain why, but I myself have also had quite a bit of apathy towards their releases, and I think I've got a couple of reasons why. There's a couple of things that they do that are just a little bit off-putting, but we'll get to that. First of all, we should meet the whiskey that I'm talking about, and you already know what that is because, well, you can read titles. So this is a miniature of the Glasgow 1770. This is their original, fresh and fruity, which is, nice, clean name. Matured in first fill ex-bourbon cask and finished in virgin oak. So spicy and vanilla-y, probably what we're going to expect here. Alcohol 46%, we love to see it. It is non-chill filtered. I believe natural colour as well. I've actually got the website open here. It says non-chill filtered, doesn't say anything about colour. So it's entirely possible they've used a bit of caramel in there, which is a shame, but hey-ho, we'll get on with it. So, why did I get a miniature? Well, apart from the fact that it's what I normally do anyway, there is a reason why I didn't get bottles. Oh no, I've dropped it. Oh no. Come here, get here. That's not good. There we go. Right, there we are, it's back in my hand. Why have I not bought a bottle of this? It's expensive. And I don't mean that in terms of like prohibitively expensive, it's just, I think a lot of people that have looked at it, in terms of like, whiskey drinkers, I've kind of looked at it and gone, why is it that much for that little? So they don't bottle in 700ml bottles. They bottle in 500ml bottles. Now automatically you'd think, okay, cool, well they're passing that cost on to the consumer. Not really. A 500ml bottle will cost you 50 quid, which is pretty fucking steep, when you're considering that you're not even getting a full format bottle. It's brand new whiskey, effectively, and it's not an established distillery like Macallan or something like that could maybe get away with it. I think Mortlach tried that bullshit and they got a slap on the wrist. Was it Mortlach or was it Fettercairn? It was one of the two. Yeah, and that backfired hideously on them. So yeah, I think a lot of Glasgow's fortunes with that one are kind of basically due to the fact that, they've put it out there in a format that is not, I don't know, you feel like you're kind of getting swizzled a little bit, But that's by the by. It's not even because it's in a particularly nice bottle either, because it's it's a nice enough bottle, but we've seen fancier things from Rassay and Nucnean, and they don't cost as much and you get more in the bottle. So it's that kind of like comparing it to its peers sort of thing, and it's coming up short. Stick some in a glass, and we're going to see what it's like. I will quickly say, Glasgow Distillery, I like their gin output. A fair few years ago, I reviewed the Maca Mulberry, and my boss at the time accused me of stealing it from work, which was nice of him. Spoilers, I did not. I bought it with my own money because I really like the stuff. He was a prick. But yeah, so where was I going with this? Yeah, so I was kind of looking forward to when they were going to be releasing some whiskey, and then they did, and then, yeah, for the reasons that I've just mentioned, never really got around to actually buying it or trying it. I've eyed up the samples a few times. Went to Royal Mile Whiskies recently, they had a couple of samples, I was like, oh fuck it, why not? If you're not going to do it now, you're never going to. So here's for finally trying the stuff. This could be spectacular. I've not really heard much about this stuff. I've not heard good things, I've not heard bad things. I've not heard anything, really. So I'm intrigued. On the nose, really like red curranty and vanilla-y. A bit of like a nay perfume, a little bit floral. A little bit of like burnt toast in there as well, kind of like that charcoaly smell that you get. A little bit of apricot, a little bit of pear. It stings the nostrils. It's a little it's kind of aggressive. It does have a prickle to it. The kind you get from like a Grant's blend or something like that, you know? And I'm kind of struggling to get through kind of like the wall of booze, so this should be interesting. That's very different. Peaches, apricots, walnuts, like brandy snaps as well. Okay, we're off to the races. It's quite spicy, kind of in the middle, kind of like a cinnamon, nutmeg, clove kind of a dance going on there. Finishes like a hint of foam banana. It's nowhere near as bad as like a Bren whiskey or something like that, but just like a tiny essence, a whisper, if you will. God, I'm such a wanker. Do you know what? Fresh and fruity. I'll give them that. I'll totally give them that. As a signature, it's light, it's floral, it's kind of almost, it's a pretty classic lowland sort of a signature. They derive their water from Loch Katrine, which is the same one that you get Tennant's Lager from. I'm getting no big juicy hints, just to forewarn you on that one. It's quite a nice whiskey. Plenty of flavour notes, but it's somehow slightly struggling to define itself. Apples, peaches and cream. It's got a lovely fruity character to it. A little bit mentholy. There is kind of like a slightly refreshing mintiness to it. The virgin oak, it's lent it a fair bit of spice. It's not really much in terms of like vanilla in compounds in that, which is a bit of a shame. But we're going to try sticking some water in it and seeing what happens. I didn't set up a jug, so I've got my Tennant's glass of water here. It's just what I use in my day. It's just what I use in my day to day. Give that a swooshy swoosh. Oh, okay. You know those honey-coated peanuts that you get sometimes that are unbelievably bad for you but delicious? Again, that kind of a really sticky, sweetie stick. There we go. Sticky, sweet, nutty. There we go. A bit of pomegranate in there actually. There's kind of like a... Yeah, I'm sticking with pomegranate. That's pretty. Red currant, cherries. It's like a hint of like Ribena cordial. It's not quite black currant. It's, you know, it's processed black currant. Like the tooth kind, or the sugar-free, the blue Ribena. I think we're talking about Ribena anyway. If anyone's ever had if anyone's ever not had Ribena or Vimto hot, you're missing out. It's lovely in winter. Goes much more mellow with water. We're getting more kind of like a clotted cream and meringue kind of a thing. The fruit's quite faded now. There's a little bit of sage. It's a little bit peppery. Vanilla. It's much more subdued now. It's much more calm. Whereas before the fruity characters were front and centre. Now it's mellowed out a fair bit and sort of like the lighter notes of the cask are taking over. The spice is still a little bit there, but we're mainly just kind of getting like a hint of clove towards the back, and that's about it. The water, I kind of feel like robs it of something, but that's just my personal opinion. But overall, it's a competent dram, but I get why people are overlooking it. Because there's nothing extraordinary about it. I think that's where it's falling down a little bit. Because you have something that, you know, it's perfectly lovely, but it's somewhat lacking in character. It's almost like they went for the generic. It feels like this was made in a boardroom, and it feels like it was priced in a boardroom as well. It feels like a very cynical marketing exercise where they just went, yeah, just call it Glasgow Whisky and people will fucking buy it. Let's like mark it up to 50 quid. Let's like stick it in a smaller bottle, and let's just make something that's, you know, I don't know. It almost feels like they were trying to clone something else. And they did a bit of a better job, but overall, it's like they just made whiskey, you know? They didn't set out to do anything more interesting. Given a bit of time, there is a bit like peaches and red currant with water, but again, it's a shadow of what it was. A little bit let down, a little bit disappointed. I don't know. I've got another Glasgow 1770, but that'll be with another video. So if you want to catch that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. I'm getting there slowly but surely with this. Thumb this video if you enjoyed it, and let me know your comments down below for what encounters you've had with Glasgow Distillery. It doesn't have to be about their whiskey, it can be about their gin. They do a vodka, they do a rum as well, and they do a blend. You know, so they do have a fair bit of output. Have you overlooked the stuff? Have you tried it yourself? What did you think? Do you think it's worth the money? That's enough to be getting on with, I reckon. Thank you very much for watching, and do join me next time, where I'll be drinking something else.